What is up, everyone? Welcome to Reality Room Podcast with Paul.
Nate.
Bringing you the latest on Survivor Game Changers. We just had the finale air last night, 2-hour finale. Actually, a little longer than 2 hours, I think. Incredible finale. A lot of huge things happened. History was made. New facts about the game was found out. Nate, what did you think about the finale as a whole?
It was really enjoyable. I like the winner. I like the fact that the person who won deserved it. For me, though, it wasn't as, what's the word? Like, complete, I guess. Like, if Cirie had won, I feel like I would have been like, okay, this has been a perfect season. But, like, that didn't happen. And instead, we have something completely different happen.
Well, I mean, it's obvious you want Cirie to win. I mean, she was your pick, and I know you're a big fan of hers. However, we all know that my pick to win was Sarah right from the beginning. So I have to say, to me, it feels very complete. All right, but you want to talk about anything else, or do you want to just jump right into it?
Let's just jump in.
Okay, so we come in to the final six. We just had that crazy ass tribal council with the 7, where Michaela gets voted out. Cirie tries to steal Sarah's power in order to vote out Ty, so Ty doesn't use his immunity idol. A lot of complex stuff going on there. But it turns out she can't use it, and then Sarah takes it and uses it to vote out Michaela. So they go back, and what it looks like, Ty comes clean about being a rat or something. I'm just sitting there like, I mean, of course Ty wants Sarah out. Sarah's a threat.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, what? Like, I can understand why Sarah's mad in this situation because, he wanted her gone. However, I don't understand why everyone else is mad.
I know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I can understand that maybe the way they're thinking, it's like, oh, well, if the heat's not on me, it's better to be on someone else. But it looked really genuine, like everyone being upset with him. And, Ty had like his emotional breakdown or whatever. And it looked like Cirie and Sarah made up at the time. At least that's how it looked like. So things are getting, so it looks like Ty is in deep water, right?
Yeah, and it makes no sense to me why Ty's in deep water. Like, as he said, everyone lies in the game. So why is Ty the one getting thrown under the bus for it? And honestly, like, if we go to fast forward to the tribal council really quick, we see that for final 6, Sarah was the one supposed to go if she didn't play her advantage. We don't know if she would have played it or not. She might have just kept it at that point if Ty didn't play both of his idols. But
I think she would have used it.
Who knows? Like, we never know. Like, I think they definitely gave her more incentive to use it. But, like,
I don't think Troyzan would have used it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Ty wasn't the only person that was flipping on Sarah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she was definitely going at that point. So it's like, I don't know if they actually showed what the votes would have been though to the players. So I don't know if they did. They did.
Okay. Yeah, it was Cirie, Ty, and Aubrey voting for Sarah. Sarah and Troyzan voting for Ty, and Brad Culpepper
voting for Aubrey.
Aubrey, yes, just in case Ty had the idol. So I'm assuming they thought that Cirie was going to vote with them, basically.
Right. But did they tell the players how the vote went, though? That's what I'm wondering.
No, they did not tell the players how the vote went.
Right. So, well, there you go. Sarah doesn't know that people are lying to her. But let's just jump back into the episode real quick. So let's jump into the first of the 3 immunity challenges. Do you remember what this one was? I remember having some sort of puzzle at the end.
Yeah, it was. They had to go through a maze. They were split on 2 different sides. It was the same exact maze from Survivor Cagayan, which is one of the best maze challenges ever to be in the show. But with the exception of them not having turnstiles, they just had to get through the maze and find their 3 bags of puzzle pieces. And then as soon as they got 1 bag, they had to find their way out, dump it, and then go back into the maze and get their second and their third one in order.
Right, and then everyone got their bags and they put up their compass shape thing. Or whatever.
It was a puzzle in a wire mesh thing. So looking at it, it was made for Brad.
Yeah.
Like, there's a physical element to it, and then there's a puzzle element to it. Like, Suri had a shot at it. She was in it. It sucked that she didn't win, because if she did win it, Brad would have been going in that situation. But
that's true. Very, very true. But Brad took it home, and he won his third immunity win at that point, which is very good for him. I mean, he's doing well in challenges.
Ties Monica's record for most individuals won. So.
And what's interesting about Brad is, and I think we speculated about this early in the game, is that we figured that he was throwing challenges early on too.
Yeah, he might have been. I don't know if he actually did or not. I don't think it's really in him to throw challenges. But yeah, like he is needing to win these immunities for sure. If he's not, he's the next one to go, because it's just him and Troyzan. And we don't know if Troyzan actually told Brad about the idol. I wouldn't if I were Troy, just because like it's never a good idea to tell anyone you have an idol ever. So like regardless if you think that you need to build trust, it's just better to work on social game than it is on trust. So why would you tell anyone that you have that? But yeah, so Brad definitely needed it, I think, that night, especially with all the immunities running around.
Right. So then they get back from Tribal Council, and Ty basically tells Brad that he has 2 idols. Actually, Ty basically tells everyone he has 2 idols. Almost everyone, anyway. Well, by the end, everyone finds out.
He tells Brad. Brad tells Troy. Troy tells Sarah, and he also tells, and then
also tells Aubrey.
And I think Suri is the only one who didn't know that Ty had 2 idols. She might have like walked into the conversation. Right. We don't know if she actually heard it, but who knows?
Right, so Ty has 2 idols, and basically what Brad wants, because he's worried about Ty, he's worried about some of his shadiness. They were working together at some point, although right back when Brad and his alliance were trying to vote Ty out, I feel like that's when that fission started. So I don't know why. I don't know why Brad's the one upset about it. But anyway,
I don't like Ty. We'll get to it when we get to Final Four. But like, so. At Tribal Council, the 5 immunities happen. Well, the 4 immunities happen, plus 5 if you include the regular necklace. But so 3 idols are played, and Sarah plays her advantage to save herself. And Suri's the only option to go home. And so I would like to note that Suri is the first person. Like, yes, she's according to Jeff, is the first person to like be voted out without because she's literally the only option. Like, to clarify what he means by that means like not just like immunity or anything, but she's also like it's also in this area where she's the only person to go home in the situation where purple rocks weren't included.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, in which everyone else tied. And like I have to like word this correctly.
There's no steps here. Everyone was immune, so she had to go.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Suri's the first person to ever receive a vote in a single season, and still get voted out.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
So the only other person to have that distinction of being eliminated without a single vote cast against them, where what's it called? Medical evacuations aren't a factor, is Pascal all the way back in season 4.
In 4, yeah.
Good time. He was taken out by rocks. So yeah, Final Four situation too. Poor guy. Yep, he would have won.
Yeah, he would have. Sad. All right. Anyway, back to this season. All right. So Tribal Council, we have the 5 immunities, 5 people immune. So he leaves. Jeff gives her a very warm speech as she passes. Also, I just want to say before the Tribal, Brad was trying to coerce Ty to give him the idol, basically, and that basically started the whole Ty not trusting Brad like at all because he thinks he's too aggressive. So that's going to come into play in the next 2 Tribals. All right, so Suri leaves, becoming the 8th member. Yeah, the 8th member of the jury. All right, so they get back. Well, they don't actually get back because after the commercial, they just go right into the challenge, if I recall correctly. So they jump right back into the challenge, and it's day like 37, I think, at this point. Let's see. Well, which one was this again? Because I keep.
Okay, so it was the same challenge that Keith Nail won in Survivor 29, Blood versus Water 2, Basically they had to use these it was a huge platform with a bunch of obstacles on it, and they had to transfer a ball from like one end of the obstacle to the other end using rods with like little platforms on the end of them with that had like the tiniest of little like metal lip on them, just so they could at least balance it to some degree on it. And we've seen this challenge go by twice now. Last time that Keith had it, like that Keith won it, he actually had an advantage to try out the challenge early. So, but like both times that this challenge has been played, it has been like
anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's been a sweep. Like I think the only person that has ever been close to winning it, other than the person that won it, was Natalie Anderson. I think she got one ball in, but Keith swept them, and now Brad Culpepper swept them.
Right. It wasn't even close either. I don't think anyone even had one ball in. Right.
No.
So it was 3-0. Brad just took that home, winning his 4th immunity necklace of the season.
Yep.
Very impressive. And again, if he doesn't win these, he's going home. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts here. He has to win, and he is winning. It's very similar to, I feel, what Ozzy in his first season. I feel like towards the end anyway. I feel like if he didn't win those immunities, he would have left as well in the later end of the game there. So very reminiscent of that. So Brad wins his 4th. They go back. Brad he has like this tough guy attitude, talking to Ty, and he's like,
powers got into his head. And like Brad did clarify later that it was because he was just so frustrated with Ty, and like you do have to factor in that they're on day 37, and they're tired. They're tired of the bull crap. They just want it to be over at this point. And I think that like Brad just got very annoyed with Ty and just not being able to trust him, and like he didn't do what Ty didn't do what Brad had like told him to do the first tribal council. And Ty was smart enough to figure out that no, that wasn't a good idea. And I agree with Ty. Ty made the correct move. Personally, I would not have saved Aubrey. I would have kept both idols for myself. But but even so, like Ty still gets the final 4, but you still guarantee yourself the final 4 regardless. So, yeah.
Right. Very true. And I mean, at this point, they're just basically trying to figure out who do I want to put on the jury that's best for my game. And everyone basically says, which is kind of strange to me, because last round it looked like Sarah was going. I mean, I know Sari left and she was one of the votes, but this time around, everyone's talking about Aubrey. So it's like, oh, well, let's get Aubrey out. I was like, because they don't want to sit next to her at the end. And I'm like, did she really play that well, though? I don't know.
That's not the reason why Aubrey was going. The reason why is because she's the only person that can beat Brad Culpepper. And Brad wanted her out. Troyzan wanted her out because he's tied to Brad. And as long as Brad's in the game, Troy's going to be in the game. So he was like, okay, let's take her out so that Brad has a chance to just sweep the final 4 immunity. We can guarantee the Ty goes out and we have an easy path to the final 3. That was it. Like,
and let's talk about the strategy there with that specific final 3 in mind. So after Brad won that challenge, he took the 3 Sarah and Troyzan on that rope. Tactical, right? Do you think that? What do you think is going on in Sarah's head at this point? Because this was also following the whole series situation.
I think Sarah was happy to go on the reward. Obviously. I think Brad wanted to bring Sarah because he knew Sarah had the most influence over votes, but I fundamentally disagree with that. I think he should have brought Sari in that situation because Sari is less likely to win a challenge, and Sari has more social pull than Sarah does. And we even saw, like, right after the tribal council, Sari, she was able to make it with Sarah. Like, Sari was not going anywhere at the final 6.
Right, yeah, at the final 6 anyway.
Yeah.
Although Sarah did say she still didn't trust her, so I don't really know what was going on there. But Sari still trusted Sarah, too, until that vote was coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's complicated. Yeah. All right, so let's get to the tribal council for final 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's up?
Troyzan. This is where Troyzan loses.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. we were pretty sure Troyzan was going to lose before, but like this is for sure where he loses because he just says this bold statement where like I think I can beat anyone that's left in the game, and we're just like, and then the jury's just like, okay, so why are you making the argument that everyone should take you to the end if you think that you can beat everyone in the end?
Yeah, I mean, even the jury's laughing at him at that point. I mean,
yeah. Even if you think that you can beat everyone left in the game, don't say
it. Especially if you're the last person and everyone says, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, it's just no good. No good. No
because it was just callous. It also shows that, like, it's an unawareness of how a jury is viewing everything. You don't really, like, it just shows that you don't think that the jury's paying attention. And by saying that much of a bold statement, like, yes, like that could be seen as confidence if you have the necklace and you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. But he used his immunity idol the previous night,
I know,
and he
but
didn't
it doesn't
win.
matter. It was just because like Troy would have gone home, honestly, if it was between him and Cirie. No one wanted Cirie out. Troy's a bigger challenge threat than Cirie, and he's tied to Brad. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't have had a revote. They all would have had to agree to vote Troyzan out. Brad would never have said yes to that, so they would have went to rocks with the two of them.
But we don't know what the rock roll would have happened because 4 people were immune, and the only people not immune were Troyzan and Cirie.
I think it'd still go to rocks, just with
would
two
it go
rocks.
To rocks just between Troy and Cirie, or would it go to fire between them?
I think it would just go to rocks. I don't think they'd do fire. Yeah. Only a Final Four situation for fire. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's always future seasons to figure this shit out. If it ever happens,
then we'll find out, but...
Right. So Aubrey in this case was trying to team up with basically Sarah and Ty to vote Troyzan out. And basically everyone really wanted Aubrey out. So everyone basically said that they did. But that was the other possibility that could have happened. So anyway, Aubrey gets voted out 4-1, the 9th member of our jury.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the Final Four.
Happy that she didn't have to go to the end again. Honestly, like she was like, I enjoyed my time here. I'm still getting paid. I'm good. I can sit on the jury.
Yep, she got the full ride, man. Yep. And then she tried to walk away with the torch, and Jeff's like, "No, I'll take it." That was just a little funny moment.
Anyway, Final Four.
So. Yeah, this Final Four, I think
it was odd.
But it is what I expected the Final Four to be, although I didn't expect I don't think we expected Brad to be in the Final Four. I think I said he was going to leave on Final Four.
Oh, I might have said it. I don't know. But I think we expected
I think you said it and I agreed with you.
Yeah. I think we expected Ty and Troyzan at the Final Four because I think we thought anyone could beat them at that point, except maybe Aubrey. And Aubrey it was clearly she was going to leave. But so it was just the difference of who the 4th person was, I think, for us. So it was either going to be Cirie or Sarah.
Right, and based on who we thought was going to win, basically.
Yeah.
So that's basically what determined that. Yeah. Okay, so we have this Final Four situation, and it's an interesting Final Four. Because they all played very different games. Yes. Sarah played a very
middle ground. She was in on every vote, as she said. That was correct, except for the one that she was supposedly supposed to go home if it wasn't for her advantage.
You had Troyzan, who kind of played like the GOAT game, played very very quietly, and
big turnaround
his way to the end.
Yeah,
had a very strong social game in the beginning. Got him very far. When his alliance broke apart, he had to win immunities to make it to where he is.
And that's part of the game. I don't understand why people discredit like winning immunities like as not strategy. Like if you can win immunities because that's going to keep you in the game. Whatever you can do to keep yourself in the game, keep yourself in the game. So what if you have the physical ability to do it? So what? It's a part of the game, so you take advantage of it. So to discredit Brad Culpepper for winning 5 immunities and like, oh, that's why he got to the end. Yeah, but it's a credible way of why he got to the end.
Right. I mean, if anyone else could have won once, he would have been gone. Just
exactly.
one time.
Exactly. So like, and for example, like Mike Holloway, season 30, if he didn't win 5 immunities, he would have been gone.
Right.
Tom, I think you could make the argument that maybe he there might have been a chance, but he had brainwashed everyone in Palau to keep him. It was ridiculous. And Ozzy might have gone at Final Four in Cook Islands if he didn't win the 5th immunity. So
I'm very convinced he would have.
yeah. But Sundra, we might have seen a very close vote between Yul and Sundra instead of Yul and Ozzy that season.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of anyone else who won 5. Colby, Colby might have been eliminated a lot earlier than he actually was in Australian Outback. So,
and with the last person, Ty, he played a very, very good game, demonstrably improved from last time. He kind of had a little breakdown towards the end, but it's day 36. People are thinking like, 3 immunities. It's just the last 3 days. That's the only time his game looked like it was dipping a little bit. But he also had 2 idols.
Yeah,
so he was in a great spot this entire game, and he kept those idols even when things.
Ty has balls of steel. Are you kidding?
I know.
Like, oh my gosh! Like there were so many instances where his name came up, and I'm sure he knew his name came up, and like, oh my gosh! Like he sat through and just like, I can't believe he's not playing an idol. Like anyone else probably would have been like, yeah, I would rather like play it and look like an idiot for playing it on not getting any votes rather than go home and with 2 idols in my pocket because he had 2.
Especially the final 6 situation. The final 7 situation. I'm so surprised they didn't use it. All right, let's jump into Final 4 immunity challenge, which I only really remember the puzzle thing at the end. Do you remember the first part?
Yeah, so it was the same challenge that was the Final 4 immunity in Survivor Worlds Apart, which was white collar versus blue collar versus no collar. They had to run up stairs, grab a key, go down a slide, then go through a climbing obstacle course, use the keys that they grabbed to find which key it was to unlock a bag of puzzle pieces, go down a pole, and then slap them down, repeat that 2 more times, and then they use them to solve a puzzle. Once they have 9 or 10 of the, once they have 1 piece left, the last piece was tied to a lockbox.
Numbers.
Yeah, and they had to untie the cards out of a bag and then use those numbers to figure out a combination to unlock the last piece and then just slap the last piece on top.
Yeah, it's like a tiki-like structure kind of.
It was a lighthouse.
Yeah, lighthouse, there you go. Lighting your way to the final 3. Hey. All right, so this challenge, it was really close between Sarah and Brad the whole time, although everyone kind of caught up by the end. Sarah dipped on the puzzle. Brad went really quickly. I think Ty was pretty close too.
Ty was surprisingly in 2nd place for that puzzle.
Yeah, I know. He was doing very well, even despite getting there a lot later than Brad and Sarah. Sarah just totally did not do good at the puzzle at all. Troyzan did all right.
Yeah, and Sarah didn't need to win it to begin with, so.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, exactly. It was really just Brad and I guess Ty that really needed to win here. Yeah, and they didn't. All right, so let's jump on to. So Brad wins 5th, ties for the most wins in a season. So they go back and basically the 3 of them talk, Troyzan, Brad, and Sarah, and they're like, listen, we've got to get Ty out. That's it. Easy. Final 3, done. Brad seems to think that he can beat any of them right now. Do you think that's misguided, or do you think he just doesn't know how hard Ty and Sarah both played?
You can only really guess if you can beat everyone until you see how the jury reacts. And I think this gave this format a jury out. First of all, I really like this format of the final tribal council. I love this. It's so much more enjoyable. It's not as controlled. It's much more open discussion, and I really enjoyed it. I agree that they need some structure, and it was kind of cheesy how Jeff was like, oh, it has to go outwit, I'll play out last, even though we haven't really even said that that motto in years. But it was just it was just funny. It was a really good one. I really enjoyed it because it let like the people that didn't really have anything to say didn't have anything to say. Like Haley didn't really have much to say. She was just like, okay, like here's just what I think. I don't know who I'm voting for, so I don't really have any questions. And it allowed people to talk that had more to discuss. And it was, and I think it allowed for more like Spencer and David situations where where they would like stand up in front of the entire jury. It's like that person deserves to win, but people could do that in reaction to other people and allowed to be less one-sided. So I was really, really happy for that.
Right. I do. Actually, first let's just get to Final Four. Ty tries to make it Chai wants to make it a tie between Troyzan and himself to build fire. It doesn't happen.
Sarah, depending on what it is, but
and Ty gets voted out 3-1. Okay, now let's go to the final tribal. I did enjoy the final tribal. I do have criticism of it. I do. Here's the thing. I don't want it was shorter than it usually was, and because I feel like everyone talking, like it takes a little longer. I feel like maybe they did this to cut some time out. Like I feel like that's part of the reason why they did it. I feel like if they wanted to do if they wanted to make it really, really successful, you have an open forum like that, and then maybe also do like one quick question for everybody. If that was a viable, so I mean, again, it would take too long, I feel, but I feel like that would be the best way to do it in like this type of game format.
It's just that nobody wants to sit through like a 40-minute tribal. So
yeah, exactly.
And but I think like the questions got out what everybody needed to get out. Jeff was a very good moderator. He kept things under control. So it was funny that Ozzy was like championing Brad, and that was a great thing for Brad because Ozzy has a lot of pull, a lot of social pull, which that was great. And Zeke championing Sarah. Yeah, that's like he's a voice and he's a great speaker, and that can really benefit her. However, like a lot of people didn't really respect Zeke's games, so I don't know how that really worked itself out. Like Ozzy he's really good friends with a lot of people in the jury. He's been on the jury for a long time, so he's had a lot more time to talk to people. So
and Debbie too.
Debbie as well, and I think people were surprised. Like Debbie's like on Brad's side, like yeah, like yes, because she with him, and the fight was fake. Debbie even admitted it later. She's like, not on the show, it was in an interview, but like she said that the fight was fake and was done on purpose so that people would go to Debbie with information so she could just go to Brad and be like, look, like hey, like these people are thinking about voting this way, so let's move in particular. So it was like Debbie was never against Brad Culpepper. So like to say that she was, no, that was false.
Smart. Very smart. Although it kind of makes that whole Cochran conversation a little weird now. But hey, whatever. It's TV. All right. So, and then Michaela seemed to also come to bat for Sarah a lot too. I think Michaela just has this, just to me, has a very good strategic timing with what she says. She just knows when to say it, like at the right times, and she knows when to tell people to stop talking, knows when to interject at the proper times. I feel like that's really helped Sarah's case at the end because Michaela just has really good way with words. Different than like a
Michaela was very influential in the fact that like when Sarah brought up the advantage and taking out from under like the sit out bench, and Michaela didn't even notice it, and then Michaela's like, you used that advantage to take me out, that was meant for me, so good job. So like that seriously helped her, and I was just like waiting for someone to say like if Sarah didn't have the legacy, like she would have been out at Final Six, like Cirie or Ty or Aubrey, and then someone could have argued, well, she had the legacy anyway, and she could have said, oh, I was going to play it no matter what, but we don't know. Like she played it after the two idols were played, so it was.
I mean, I think she was going to play it.
Who knows?
Don't not take your immunity, you know.
I know, but like regardless,
that's a fault. I don't think that's a good criticism, but I don't know. Maybe you're right.
She might not have played it. Like the argument here is very similar to Survivor Second Chances when It was going to be a tie vote between Kelly Wentworth and Jeremy. And Jeremy never would have played his idol if Kelly Wentworth had never played hers. And it would have been a tie. It would have gone to rocks regardless, and they would have had a better chance at actually like taking out somebody that was not on their side.
Right.
So
the difference between an idol and this advantage is that this advantage only works in the final 6. And it basically just guarantees you a spot in the 5. And she even said, when talking to us, she's like, I'm already guaranteed a spot in the final 5.
Yeah.
When she was talking to the people watching.
That's
so
true.
she was always going to use it. Like, there's no reason not to. I mean, even season 33, Ken still used it, even though he didn't have any shot of going home that time.
Yep, he still got a vote. I think he knew that his name came up regardless, but yeah, he was gonna play it. So,
all right. So, you want to talk about anything more specific during this final travel that you thought was particularly interesting?
I think Brad at the end of it, I was very disappointed with Brad for his last statement. He just seemed to be very frustrated and to give up at the end of it. It was just like, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say to you. He should have just taken his time with what he was saying and just said, look, like, I fought to get here. Sarah didn't fight. I had great relationships with people despite like not having good relationships with Michaela and Ty. But like, I still made relationships, and I think that should be a point for me, regardless of the fact, or at the very least, not considered because of the fact that it still got me here. So, yeah, it was like Troy, he just kind of gave up. And like Troy, I respect Troy for saying that, like, I know I lost. There's no point in like dragging it out further. Like, so he took himself out. But like that was. He knew. He saw the writing on the wall. It was like he knew it was going to be between Sarah and Culpepper. So he's just like, I'm not getting any votes. Don't vote for me. Just vote for one of them. So
right. Yeah, that was big of him. I mean, he walked in there. I think part of him did know, because I think part of the stuff when he was talking to us, I think part of it might be a little scripted. I think might be a little bit. He's like, oh, I have a great chance to win. You know, I played from below.
Or taken out of context. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Troy, to make it to the end, you have to do something right.
Yeah.
Basically. And he did do something right. He did make it to the end. And okay, so I think Sarah did very well with her comparison to her work comment, which she made a few times. I don't know if she had to make it a few times, but she made it a few times during that trial about having, being a cop and having to adapt to certain situations. Yeah. Undercover Cop, actually very similar to Brother 16. He used also his Undercover Cop experience to basically win Big Brother. So it's actually very similar in my opinion. I don't know if they maybe they'll meet up at some sort of CBS event at some point, and they can. The
difference was that Sarah, like they applied it differently, and I think it was just because it was a different game. Like Survivor is much more messy, and I would argue harder. But in terms of like direct strategy, because like anyone can go at any time, whereas Big Brother, it's a little bit more direct and more straightforward. But that's an argument for another time. We have discussed that in the past, but
we'll discuss that again in our Survivor Big Brother Part 2 conversation.
I look at the original to see what we already covered.
That's exactly right. Okay, so the votes come out. Everyone votes. It looks they show 2 votes for Brad, 2 votes for Sarah. We go back to it's in LA now, right?
Yeah.
Would they do it?
Yeah, I'm not. So they pan the camera. Brad's got that stupid little mustache. It's just I don't understand why he didn't shave that thing off.
I liked it.
It was so weird. But the vote count ends up being 7-3, sweeping victory. But here's a note, though. Brad is the closest person to winning the game that was the second place finisher since season 21. He's received the most votes as a second place finisher since then.
That's very impressive then. It's very, very, very impressive.
Yeah.
So it was a close vote. So Sarah wins. Yay, my pick won. Do you know what's weird though? Because at the time when we were doing like the the who was going to win situation. I didn't watch Culpepper's season yet. Right after that episode, we did that. I watched the season and I fell in love with Brad. Like I fell in love with Brad. So I think I wanted him to win, Sarah to win. So I was very happy with that final three.
Yeah.
Very content.
I am very happy with how Brad has redeemed himself as a strategist. I think he played a fantastic game. He just made, as Jeff said, he just made one poor decision at the Final Four, and he couldn't get past his emotions at the Final Four, which is a part of the game. It's like he's tired, he's annoyed, like he just wants it to end, as I said before. And it's like that Final Four vote got more complicated than it needed to be, as he said. So it was just like he's like, go away, Ty, like, and that's where he made his mistake. So.
Right.
Yeah, I think if Brad were to play again, I think he could have a shot at winning. I think we could see Brad play a third time. I think Monica's done, but I think Brad we could see playing a third time.
I just want to make a point here. We created something here called, I'm just going to call it the Culpepper effect. Basically, It's when you get out your first time pre-jury, and then you come back your second time and get second place.
And you win a lot of challenges.
And you win a lot of challenges. So that's the Culpepper effect right now. So let's wait and see. So we can use that in case there's ever a new Culpepper or if anyone ever does anything similar. So check that out. Not next season though, because it's all new people.
Yep, they're an all-star family. Like there are a lot of people who I think improved on their games, and I think there's a lot of people that just got screwed over by the twists in the game. For example, Caleb just got absolutely screwed by a switch. And I still don't understand why they took out Caleb over Haley. I don't understand that.
Bad decision on Ty's part.
Yeah. And then you see Sandra, she got screwed over. I mean, you could say that Varner got screwed over by a switch, but he did it to himself. He almost flipped it, and then that happened. Let's see here. And then Haley, I think, could have gone farther. Is just fear of an idol, and she just made a slight mistake where she just should have just like dumped everything out of her bag. And it's like, Sarah, come and pat me down. I don't have an idol. Michaela would have gone home. So,
right. Just little things in how the game could have changed this season. Very little things. I think generally people played very, very well for the most part.
This season, the caliber of play was amazing. I've seen a couple people complain that they hope that not every season is like this. And not every season is going to be like this. We saw this caliber of play in Second Chances. And we saw it in, I think Millennials versus Gen X was a
light version of that.
Yes, a light version of that. And I think that had largely to do with Zeke.
and David. It was...
Yeah.
I feel like the people in Millennial vs. Gen X, they grew as the game went on into the players that they were. So you actually saw the progression of, kind of becoming real game players.
Exactly.
And it was a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, and even people were like, oh, Jay's an idiot. Jay's not an idiot. He played hard. Are you kidding? Jay was one of the better players. If David and Zeke weren't there, Jay probably would have won. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just very, very, very good season that was too. So so 33, 34, and 32, I feel were all very, very good seasons. So let's talk about what this next season looks like. So,
before we get to that, I just want to mention Survivor Cagayan now has a lot of people that have made the end of the season. I think they have the record for most players that have made the end of a season, which is 5.
It's very impressive. Very, very impressive. And I in my original players to pick to win in the first video, I wanted Tony or Sarah to win. So for Cagayan, I feel like that was an amazing season.
Cagayan set the tone for this era of Survivor because of Tony. And now we have the people that have made the final Tribal Council. We have 5. We have Tony, Wu, Spencer, Tasha, and and who was the last person? Sarah, of course.
That's exactly right. All right, so Now let's talk about this next season. Okay, so season 35. What was it called? It was called Heroes versus Healers versus what was the third one?
Hustlers. Yeah.
It looks interesting. Any comments on the 6 people that we did see? I don't remember them too much, but do you remember?
It was interesting. I like the theme. I like it a lot because it doesn't give too much about like what you expect from the players, rather than like just little details that you might glean from it. Like you could have gleaned from from Brains versus Brawn versus Beauty, as well as the Collar season. You could glean more from like the titles than this season. Like how does a healer play? like
What was that?
very
You cut
socially.
off for me.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, how does a healer play in the game? Like how would you expect? That doesn't mean anything. Like, yeah, you could say like, oh, they're a healer. They deal with like social and physical attributes and healing other people, and that could say that they have a very good social game. But then you have a surgeon. Surgeons aren't very well known for their social game, so it's just like, or their social capabilities. So this is going to be an interesting season because it has less to do with like personality or way of life, and not way of life, but like it has less to do with like personality and gameplay, and it has more to do with way of life, and way of life does not always translate into Survivor.
Right, that's exactly right. I remember even one of the hero girls. I think it was one of the girls with the freckles. Yeah. I think that was a hero girl. She was talking about how like, I mean, it's kind of like a sink or swim kind of game. You kind of have to do what you kind of do. And does that sound like a hero to you? No, it sounds like someone willing to make it to the end, like a real Survivor player.
Exactly. She was a lifeguard. She's like, this is gonna be the first time that I let people sink, and that's how you play the game. Like.
Was that the right? That was the hero. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have like the healers and the hustlers. The hustlers, if I have a prediction right now, I think it's either going to be the healers or the hustlers are going to be the disaster tribe. Whenever there's like a 3-tribe format, there's one tribe that is just so much worse than everything else, like all the other ones. In the first Brain versus Brawn versus Beauty, it was Brains. The second one, it was Brawn.
Although they all made it to jury, the last 3.
That's true, but
when
like
the switch came.
The switch heavily benefits them, but they still get screwed.
It's true.
And then in the collars, it was no collars, and if you're on the disaster tribe, if you can get to the end, I would argue that you might have a shot at winning, with the exception of Will. But like in general, you're not going to win if you're on the disaster tribe. So,
right, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so
we got 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months, and then we'll get Big Brother in the meantime. We will be covering Big Brother, the new Big Brother, when it comes out. We didn't really cover Big Brother Canada too much. I was busy with school. I'm sorry, guys. And
I'm in the minority where I'm saying that I'm okay with the winner.
I'm okay with the winner too. I like Kevin. Yeah. I didn't like him when he was like in a power position. I liked him when he was the little guy, because that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So again, we will be covering the new Big Brother when it comes out next month. We'll be doing live feed updates with that, probably sporadically between the 3 of us, Nate, Chris, and myself. Chris has been out of the loop for a little while, but he's going to come back with Big Brother. I know he is, and we'll do our cast analysis for that as soon as they have information on it. So I hope you're all
new player season, which is a good.
Exactly. So I hope you're all ready for that. All right. So this has been Reality Room Podcast, covering an amazing season of Survivor. I hope you enjoyed our videos as much as we enjoyed talking about the game on these videos. So Nate, final words.
I'm good. Great season. Enjoyed it a lot. Unfortunately, like, my favorite didn't win, but it's still a good season. So congrats to Sarah.
But mine did, and I have to say, yours won last season, and mine won this season for Survivor, because you picked Adam and I picked Sarah. So there you go. We're both on a roll. So Chris has to pick the next winner, and then we're all good.
Yeah.
until next season and until next Big Brother, peace.